Now, starting this off with the biggest and most controversial moment of the game, the Draymond Green stomp. It's really one of the biggest reasons the Warriors are down 2-0 right now. Let me explain why. The Warriors leading up to that moment had erased a 14-point Kings lead and were beginning to find their stride on defense, with them holding the Kings to only 10 points in the previous 8 minutes leading up to that moment. And what this Draymond ejection did was, it forced the Warriors to sub back in Kevon Looney, who had already picked up 5 fouls. And with no Draymond there wasn't another big presence who could supplement Looney if he fouled out. And during this final 7-minute stretch, with Looney forced to play soft on 5 fouls and Draymond out, the Kings were able to attack the rim and crash the glass. Something their offense needed, as they only shot 23% from 3 this game. And in these last 7 minutes, they scored 23 points, as opposed to the 10 they only came up in the previous 8 minutes. Now, speaking on what Draymond did semantically, in a situation as big as that, with a chance to take a big game on the road, while you've been a bad road team this whole season, it's incredibly fucking stupid to get yourself tossed from the game like that. It's an undeniably dirty play, and it's a flagrant too. While Sabonis did have hold of his leg, that does not excuse Draymond full force stopping into his chest and jumping off him. Now, thankfully, Sabonis seemed to be okay after. They x-rayed him after the game and they came back clean. But for Draymond, in that situation, there's plenty of things you can do besides directly stomp on his chest with malicious intent. And that's all I have to say about that. Now, moving aside from that, and speaking on the enjoyable part of the game, the basketball that was played, the first thing I want to address is the Warriors seem to have trouble keeping up with the Kings' pace, which is kind of crazy to say because the Warriors in the past have usually been the ones running teams off the court, but it seems that now they can't keep up with the Kings and how fast they play. And I really want to applaud Mike Brown's coaching. He stuck to his game plan of playing up tempo no matter what, and he seems to also really have his team prepared to compete at a high level. The Kings don't seem to feel pressure or fear. When the Warriors go on runs, they don't panic, they punch back, and this team seems really locked in. Speaking of locked in, De'Aaron Fox in the clutch did it again, hitting a huge 3 late in the fourth. This Kings team is really built for the moment and continues to step up. It'll be interesting to see if they can carry this energy on the road in Golden State. Now, for the Warriors, they really need Jordan Poole to step up, as their bench was atrocious this game, only scoring 21 points. And if you get rid of Gary Payton II's contribution, the rest of the bench only scored 8. So they really only had an effective 6-man rotation. So they're going to need Poole to step up, and they need an additional scoring punch and X factor off the bench. They would also need Poole to command more attention on defense from the Kings. Now, adding on to that, the Warriors' depth needs to step up in general, because the Kings have been getting huge contributions from their depth and their bench pieces, while the Warriors have not. And that's so far been the difference in these 2 games. Another thing for the Warriors I want to see is, I want to see Curry assert himself offensively early in the game. Down 2-0, they're going to need him to shoulder the load and lead by example. He's going to need to have some monster games at home if they want to climb back into the series. Finally, for the Warriors, they also need to be more careful with the ball. They've turned the ball over a lot so far this series, and against a Kings team that wants to force turnovers and wants to get in transition against you, being careless with the ball is a death sentence. Moving forward to the Kings themselves, I first want to shout out Harrison Barnes. The stat sheet may not look great, but he made a lot of great plays, whether it be clutch baskets, momentum dunks, offensive rebounds. He really did everything you want a role player to do in the playoffs. Now, onto the duo of Fox and Monk. Monk didn't have a great shooting night numbers-wise, but in the second quarter he went crazy, hitting 3 straight threes and getting the Kings back in the game after a slow start. You need contributions like this in the playoffs. Now, for Fox, he was money in the clutch, and he found his teammates for great looks. Another solid game. Another backcourt contributor that I want to highlight is Davion Mitchell. He gave his great defense as usual, but he also hit a lot of clutch shots, and he really shot better than I expected. I was a doubter of his jump shot, but it went in tonight, and that's all you can ask for. Finally, salute to Sabonis for toughing this one out. He got hacked and fouled a lot, and played through a lot of hard hits while having a solid game. One thing I do want to see for the Kings, though, is more Keegan Murray. He's one of their best shooters, but he's gone quiet so far in these 2 games. I think they'll need more from him to close the series out. And the final aspect I liked about the Kings was them shortening their rotation and riding the hot hands. Hopefully they can keep finding contributions from their depth every night like they have so far. Now, going forward in the series, it'd be very stupid to call it over now. These 2 wins at home were very necessary for the Kings, but it could also be 2-2 going back to Sacramento. I'm never going to count out the Warriors, but I will give my flowers to the Kings. They've put themselves in a great position to win this series. Hopefully they don't squander it. And well, that's all I got today. I hope you enjoyed and subscribe for more.